is easy.
Yeah.
But, think about mobile apps. That is a service. Isn't that hard to think about? I mean, having those things phoning home to a server is not that unusual. Having them update is not that unusual. Now, you still have to think, I don't want to be draining the battery of the mobile device I'm on, sending back terabytes of logs. So you got to be, that's one of the challenges. Yeah. And then it gets more challenging when you get into enterprise software. Okay, so I got something like SQL Server or Oracle deployed in the enterprise, and how the heck am I going to get data from that? But there's actually clever ways to do that. I talked to a group here, and I don't want to go into too many details, but they're going to be selling some enterprise software deployed at the enterprise, but they're also going to be selling value-added services for running that enterprise software.
Okay.
Now, the value-added services are web services. So right there is your pipeline for getting data. And that doesn't mean you could just collect data willy-nilly from some company you sold to, but it's in the legal documents. It's agreed, all legal and clear and agreed to that, yes, as one of the things we're going to provide you with this value-added service, and we're going to collect this anonymized data from you. And they say, okay, sure. And now you have a pipeline in.
Yeah, so and obviously adhering to all of the privacy data, opt-in, opt-out, things that your legal department would want you to do if you're in that situation.
Yes, though you're always going to be in that situation. Let me stress that. I want to make it clear that there's always, sometimes it's easier to collect data, sometimes it's harder, but you always have some restrictions, some regulations that you should always be aware of in collecting and using data.
Yeah, exactly. Even if it's like an internal proprietary app, your HR department might also prefer, because it maybe isn't that difficult to say, we're just going to pop up a little opt-in dialogue and people can opt out if they'd like. And
it's actually funny. And in my recent talk, Roadmap Data-Driven Quality, I actually show the little opt-in, opt-out dialogue from Windows where you can opt in or opt out of the data collection. This is true for everybody. But as a Microsoft employee, it's been administratively set, so I can't opt out.
That's the HR department at Microsoft, which is fine. Dog fooding is a mandatory part of your job.
IT department says if you're going to use the software and you're a Microsoft employee, we're collecting data.
Yes, we invented dog food. You're obligated to eat it.
Exactly.
I was a Microsoft employee. I ate lots of dog food. And, some of the things that I saw inside that will never see the light of day. They were some of the most wonderful software in the world.
The thing about dog food, and people think about, you're using dog food software internally and it doesn't work and it ruins your productivity. That's true. The point of dog food is that there should be some very easy, rapid way for the people running the dog food program to get data from you. So you're not suffering in silence, but you suffered for a reason, and it can be quickly recognized and fixed. And that's an important part of data-driven quality in general, which is it's not about just putting the software out there and then collecting data, but it's also about reacting to it in a very quick manner, because otherwise the data is just going into the ether and not being used. That's not data-driven quality. So I just want to make that point.
Yeah, and I suppose if one of the sources you get is sort of through the support organization for customers that are closest to customers, that's where you can build those communication channels where it's not just for research sake or testing research sake. You're actually sort of maybe able to assist your colleagues in the support organization to actually get closer to customers and help them.
That's right. And there's layers of defense. So when you're getting data from support, that's one of your outer layers, right? You don't want that to be your primary way of finding out about issues. You actually want to find out proactively. You actually, again, it starts with functional testing. It always does. But then you want to find out if something slipped through proactively in dog food. You want to find out, or you want to find out when you release to the first 5% of users. If it makes it to customer service, that's not a happy thing. But again, those layers of defense are important because something's always going to slip through. So you want to catch it as soon as you can.
Yeah, and it's how you respond that makes the biggest difference, I think. Not that it happens, yeah. So lest somebody think that you're giving a workshop at STPCON for developers to learn how to do functional testing, which is not the purpose of this.
We taught a course about that once, actually. But anyway, let's get into
Did you get a lot of attention? No, tell us a little bit about. I know it's you do teach internally these different groups like the OSG group at Microsoft. Tell us a little bit about what it is you're going to be teaching. Kind of, it's a one-day workshop, I believe, on the subject, and kind of what can people look forward to come join you?
Sure. Myself and my colleague, Monica Katunda, who I work with, and she's actually not a tester, so I'm going to put her amongst a bunch of testers and make her stuff. She's actually a service engineer. That's the folks that actually work on the operational stuff and work with the data centers and make sure everything's running well.
Cool.
She's going to be delivering this with me also. And what it's going to be is my roadmap to data-driven quality, which I delivered at the last STPCON, which is a 1-hour talk, laid out this roadmap of, determine your questions, design for production quality data, select your data sources, use the right tools, get the answers to your questions, laid out this roadmap, gave examples. I'm going to expand that out into a workshop where we're going to go through each one of these and have the participants work with it first with some example that everybody's commonly working with so they sort of get the feel for it, and then work with it on their own product, their own software. How does it apply to them? And sort of start to sketch out their actual roadmap. So in the 1-hour talk, I try to get people to start, I say, for each one of these, it's now your turn. And it's like one slide. And nobody's going to write down, a big strategy in one slide.
In 5 seconds,
Yeah, so this is your chance to actually really be your turn and ask specific questions about your product and actually talk with your colleagues. So it's not going to be just me and Monica that are going to have the answers. I think, it's kind of the thing about these workshops, other people have the answers too, and they might have ideas to overcome some of these challenges. So it's basically for folks that have something as easy as a service to something as hard as enterprise software, and we're going to discuss the challenges and have them work out what their strategy could be.
That sounds fantastic. So head out to stpcon.com and sign up. I think there's still early bird pricing as we get this out, which would be really great, and join you for a workshop. And are you actually going to be anywhere else between the airing of this show and whenever it airs? And what other places might you be getting out there? Any other conferences or things this fall?
No, not between now and November. I don't have the nomadic life you have, Mark.
Most people don't, I don't think. It's a good thing, just hang tight and do stuff. That would be cool. And then, of course, always, what are other ways people can follow you? You have, I think it's SethEliot.com. Is that correct?
SethEliot.com is a good place to start if you want to look at a lot of my past presentations or read past papers. Seth Eliot, that's 1 L and 1 T, by the way. SETHELIOT on Twitter is a good place. I generally tweet work-related stuff there. I have a blog, and you can find it. I'm so rare at updating it. I'm hesitant to to promote it, but it's there.
And there is good stuff out there. If people actually kind of get into data-driven quality, they want to know a little of the origins of TIP as well. There's some great tip stuff out there too.
Yeah, you convinced me. I'll give the URL for it. It's aka.ms/Seth_QA.
There you go. AKA.ms.
Yeah, that's a Microsoft URL shortener.
I like it. Very cool. Seth, thanks very much for joining us. I totally look forward to having a rare single malt scotch with you at STPCON coming up in Denver in November, first week in November. Do you have an idea of maybe you'll bring maybe a rare vintage?
What was that one we were discussing before the recording?
I think maybe it was Bruladig. It's one. Yes, it's Klingon.
Yes, it made my tongue numb, but in a wonderful way. So yes, maybe I'll bring that one.
Very good. And it would still be on you, I think, incumbent upon you to maybe give the first teaching of the rare tasting method, now that you know the impacts of tongue-numbing single malt scotch.
Oh, this has been, this whole where you taught me how to do scotch tasting has sort of been this branching exponential tree, because I've taught already 5 or 6 people, and who knows how many they've taught. So this is crazy.
That is awesome. Very good. So we'll see you in November, and check out the details on Seth's workshop at stpcon.com. Seth, thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon, man.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
There you go.
Thank you for listening to another episode of STP Radio. As your host, it's my pleasure to bring these intriguing and engaging conversations to assist you in your quest to become a better software tester. Please be aware that this podcast is a production of the Software Test Professionals organization and is copyrighted and protected via the Creative Commons Share with Attribution non-derivative licensing. For more information, please visit www.softwaretestpro.com. On behalf of myself and the entire STP community, please share this podcast with your fellow testers and developers and managers. Thanks for listening, and be sure to join us on the next episode of STP Radio.